Today, I prepared my session for the how we handle and detect our deadlock, circular deadlock condition. So there is new agenda. In historically, there is some lock detection engine as a debugging feature in the Linux kernel. We called Lockdep, but there there is some limitation for the Lockdep support for some circumcision. So Byung-chul uh, introduced a DEPT as a new debugging feature for the weight and lock detector for the Linux kernel. So uh, we can utilize this feature, but this time now DEPT not supported in upstream kernel, but we focused on support for the upstream Linux kernel. So we continuously rebase and enhance the depth engine for the weight and lock detection. So I will continue to some introduction for the depth. And I'm currently preparing some BOF session for the DevConf. So, right, we can see the two contexts here, X and Y, right? X and Y, right? Lock A are hold in this code, and lock B hold in this code, right? And the context are proceed, right? And context X want to hold lock B in this code, but as you know, context Y previously hold the lock B, right? And also context Y want to hold the lock A, but lock A previously holded by the context X. So we cannot unlock this lock A and lock B, right? So lock A and lock B are never go to this end of this point in this slide. So we called this situation as ABBA deadlock, right? This occurred during the runtime, right? So we need to runtime checker for checking lock order for the deadlock when they actually happens, right? And this is important before a deadlock actually happens, right? So as I said, there is some long history for the detecting on the runtime for the lock dependency. We called this as Lockdep. These Lockdep features are written by Ingo Mola. And as you can see, when the lock A are hold, and while holding the lock A, this context want to hold the lock B. So these situations called as A depend on B, right? So we draw the arrow as a dependency from A to B. So next slide. So as you can, previous slide, as you can see, this situation are drawn as from A to B. So Lockdep debugging feature on the Linux kernel, making a build dependency graph from A to B. And context Y as perspective of hold the B and context A Y next want to hold lock A, right? So as you can see, from B to A, they make build dependency graph. So as you can see, this is the deadlock, right? So ABBA deadlock, and this makes some circular dependency, and code never go to after the ABB deadlock point, right? So if you want to ask something, write in chat, and I know that there is some Korean people, so if you type in the chat as a Korean, I translate as an English, so other people understanding what they mean. So feel free to asking me. So wow, there's so many dependency in global space, right? This is the situation that what we're learning the Linux system, right? There is so many process and so many context in here, so there is so many dependency. So at that time, there is no dependency from this time. But right, if there's is there any kind of specific data structure that describes this kind of dependency graph? Right. As you know, this dependency are implemented by Lockdep engine, right? So they search and make this complex graph data structure in their engine, so they can detect this deadlock situation, right? So if you want to more detail for the how they make their data structure for the graph, we need to investigate how Lockdep are implemented. So, but there is a good starting point. Lockdep is very big and very long time history, but that is short, right? So if you want to investigate how they work in inner data structure perspective, you can investigate the DEPT code. DEPT code is not wrong. So, right, we can focus it from how DEPT are working, right? So, and plus, DEPT is more advanced, right? I think good starting point. Some looking at the DEPT code. So, are you planning to look into the party? No. This session is focused on some how DEPT are working, and some I think some broad eye view of how DEPT are working, and DEPT is another how they say, another concept, the comparison of Lockdep. So I will focus on what is the different and what is making the how they depth are more advanced, right? I think this is the key concept. And Bemcher said, if you want to investigate the code, you need to 100% understand in this content, right? So I will keep going on, right? I hope to answer to LSG, right? Right. If you understand what it means, I think there is some point for what is the different Lockdep and depth. So we need to understand that point, very subtle point, and this makes some great, huge difference, right? So, right, I explained there's new dependencies are here, and this makes some circular dependency from Y to Q to da, right? So Lockdep, reporting, right? So this is some complex context in here, a 3 context, and everyone you need to remember different between spin lock and mutex, right? In when the spin lock when the context enter the spin lock context for the critical section, right? Spin lock is deadlock, and that context never sleep in the spin lock critical section, right? So there is some mutex, right? In the mutex context, for the perspective of critical section, they can sleep, right? So there is some way, right? This is the key point for this session. So keep remembering, right? Way. So we can see the context X and context Y, context G, and some Y side, right? Y side are time that code be executed, right? So this is the upper side in here. So context Y hold the lock C, right? And there is some mini gap, but context X executed and hold the lock A, and context Z hold the lock C, right? This is the some time domain in the context in here. So, and context Y want to holding the lock A, but as you know, context X are previously holding the lock A, right? So context Y waiting in here for want to hold the lock A. And next, context X want to some event for the B, right? So we need to focus on, this is the not lock, right? This is the waiting that want to some event are occurring from another context. So, right? So event B will be occurred in here, context Z, right? So as you can see, there is some headache for this context. You can assume that this is the deadlock, right? Because this is the deadlock presentation, right? So you can think about it. Why is deadlock in here? I will give you some 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. In this time, right? This part is the Lockdep, right? Lockdep. So I will review the some deadlock point in the previous slide, from later slide, but we keep remember the Lockdep's concept, right? Lockdep build a dependency. When they hold the lock A and want to hold in the B, they build a lock dependency from A to B. So we can review this slide. So I can explain why this is the deadlock situation. So, right, they holding the lock it from each context, and context Y want to holding the lock A, right? And context X holding the lock A. So they are waiting in context Y. And so context B, context X want to some event occurring from another event, another context, and context Z want to holding the mutex C, right? But context Y already holding the lock C. So context D never end, right? Never end. They want to holding the lock C, but context Y already hold the lock C. And context Y want to holding the lock A, but context X already hold the lock A, right? So if you have a question for this situation, feel free to asking me. So context G cannot go to the code execution, the code. Right? You can almost understand, right? Context G, some point in slide, they execution, some waiting for the want to holding the lock C, right? These code are executed, right? As you know, mutex or some lock functions, if lock hold it, they are waiting, right? And if there anyone hold the lock, they can hold the lock from their context, and they execution their critical section code, right? So context G, in your question kind of confusing for me. If this situation is like context G is not even starting, context G are started, but they are waiting, right? Right? Do you understand what I mean? What I said? They are started, but they are waiting. They want to hold the lock C, right? Good, great question. Right. Oh, it's simply waiting for getting lock C. I think description will be much better if you show process state diagram together. Right. Great comment. Thank you. So, right. If their enhancement for this slide, we can, as you said, right, there's some state from here. So I think emoji is good for them. So right, you write smile emoji in chat, right? there, I think there's some circle in eye emojis are good for this state, right? And this state also good. And I think some emoji that waiting time for the event are good for emoji for the process state. Great suggestion, thank you. So this is the deadlock situation. Great. But this is the important point for the Lockdep. Lockdep will not report this situation as deadlock. So if you config on Lockdep and something like situation in this slide are occurred, they not report it. Lockdep, they have no feature for the detecting this waiting. They only can detect each lock, right? This is the important why Byungter are implementing new deadlock detection system for the Linux kernel, right? This is the important point, right? So in perspective of Lockdep, they can make some build dependency from this side, right? For the mutex lock. So context Y, hold C, lock C, and he wants to hold lock A, right? So this makes from C to A arrow for this point, right? But deadlock situation are occurred, but so there is no report in the kernel log, but kernel are deadlocked, and this will be hung task for the kernel. So this is hard to find how they are deadlocked in this situation. There's no report, and we need to find and investigate all the process they are stuck and find the dependency for each lock, what the making some circular dependency for that system, right? So this is very hard because in real system there's so many dependency in here, right? So in perspective of some global system, this is some simple example, but hard to understand. When I first saw this, I need to thinking a few minutes, like SGL, right? But I understood context G never go to this code after this code because context Y holding the lock C, so they are waiting, want to holding the lock C, and context Y they want to holding the lock A, but they never go to next step because context X previously hold the lock A, and context X they want to get an event from another context, but context Z are never ended from this point, so this event never happened, right? So context X are never ended for the waiting at this point, right? Wait can cause a deadlock, right? And I will keep remember for folks. So how does the Linux kernel try to handle this entangled dependency situation? I think how program disentangle this situation, well, maybe answer would be just terminating process is also important. As you can see, this is the kernel space situation. So we called this as a bug, or if user making this situation as some malicious something like that, we call the vulnerability for the Linux kernel. So this is the bug, and this is fully tested by kernel developer, right? So as you can see, before a deadlock actually happens, right? We need to detect and fix it. This is the bug. AI can never handle this complex situation when they learn time, right? So this needs human. This needs a smart human, right? Right. And AI are running on that system, right? AI can never patch or something like that when they learn time, right? So great news for the kernel developer, right? AI can't quit the kernel developer's job when the runtime deadlock are occurred, right? This is the kernel developer must fixing point. Okay. So we can cause a deadlock. This is the important point.